It's a unique combination of three tools: LemonTree from LieberLieber, Prolaborate, and of course IncQuery Validator. And the webinar will be recorded, actually. So we will provide a condensed version so that you can review and share with your colleagues later. Okay, I want to give just maybe 30 seconds more to allow a couple of more people to join us for today's discussion and demonstration, and then we will get started right away with my co-presenters and co-hosts, Daniel and Nizam. So maybe we will actually start with a very short introduction. So thanks again for joining today. My name is István Ráth. I'm the CEO of IncQuery. And I am joined today for this webinar presentations by my friends Daniel and Nizam. I will be talking a little bit about our own quality assurance product, IncQuery Validator. Daniel will be doing the LemonTree stuff, and of course Nizam will join us to present what Prolaborate can do. So Daniel, floor is yours for the introduction.
Yeah, I'm Daniel, and I'm at home today. We run a daycare at home, and so it will be fully realistic. Nizam is somewhere in the world. I'm in a different part of the world, and we'll show you modern model collaboration in a realistic scenario.
Thank you, Nizam.
Yeah, hello everyone. This is Nizam. I'm from the Prolaborate team of Sparx Systems. Glad to join the session. Yes, like Daniel said, I'm joining from Australia, and yeah, completely different time zone and different region. So hopefully a real-time collaboration is going to be demonstrated today. Thanks.
Okay, thanks again. And I will get then right away started with the short introduction as a presentation, just for everyone to get on the same page what it is that we are going to show you guys today. So basically, we are going to demonstrate a combination of three tools: LemonTree, Prolaborate, the Validator, and of course, Enterprise Architect is the core of the ecosystem, to explain what we mean by a modern version of true agile collaboration in this context. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of the scenario that we are going to be going over today, basically, we will look at a collaborative systems engineering workflow where several systems engineers or stakeholders are working on a model, a project with Enterprise Architect, and they are using a collaboration platform to exchange data with each other, such as Git, as you will see in the demonstration today, but it can be other ways as well. LemonTree will be playing a very special role in this story, because LemonTree will be used to do the most important aspects of collaboration, which is discovering what is the difference between various revisions of the project and how to merge them together. You will also see in this presentation today what Prolaborate can add into this picture, basically by providing a web-based platform for reviewing and annotating a published version of the model so that other stakeholders can be involved in the process as well. And finally, we will also be introducing our tool, IncQuery Validator, which is an automated quality assurance that can bring model validation and governance in an automated way into the picture. And altogether, these three disciplines combined, so the smooth and scalable diffing and merging, the web-enabled collaboration, and the discovery and quantification of model quality issues are, as we say, the foundational cornerstones for true agile in the modeling world. Daniel, please introduce what LemonTree is. Daniel?
Yes, I was in the fishbowl. I had some problem with my Zoom. So LemonTree is something unique in the MBSE space. It's a true three-way diff and merge engine for models. It is also available with the same capabilities in a CLI version for DevOps, CI, CD, like GitHub, TeamCity, Jenkins, or whatnot. It can also be used to publish model assets, a model library with this reusable model components. And there is also a web frontend that we will see today. And there is also special editions of the LemonTree product family that connect Enterprise Architect to Polarion or Codebeamer in a real-world fashion.
Nizam, your turn about Prolaborate.
Yeah, so Prolaborate is one of the three components of the Sparx systems architecture platform. And it's primarily to take the enterprise architect diagrams and models that we create to the larger audience, where they could view it in a simplified, curated manner. At the same time, be able to participate in discussions, reviews, and approvals as well. So that's one of the most essential part of the modeling ecosystem, where the architects should continue to create models using Enterprise Architect, but there should be a way for the non-EA community to also review it and update it and participate in discussions. And that's exactly what Prolaborate does. And one of its core capability is around collaboration. Rather than having emails and other forms of discussions happening on model and diagrams, Prolaborate enables a model-centric collaboration platform where you could actually discuss on an element in a diagram, or a connector in a diagram, or an attribute in a diagram, and be able to even tag users or modelers who need to attend to it. And that kind of model-centric collaboration will make sure people are informed and are also participating and sharing their comments, as opposed to ignoring it as they would do it if they are sent via an email. And its unique ability to also show these discussions from the non-EA stakeholders within Enterprise Architect. So the modeler is also able to see that as he or she is doing the modeling is its strength. So the modeler who is responsible to update the diagrams or make the changes can access those comments from within Enterprise Architect and be able to address it, and the rest of the world or the rest of the users will be able to see that through a web browser without even having to get to Enterprise Architect. So that's this whole ecosystem that part of the platform that I'm going to demonstrate.
Thank you. And finally, the third and final component of the toolchain is IncQuery Validator, which has a new product. It's by IncQuery. As I said before, it's a quality assurance product for UML SysML models that provides detailed model quality reports and breakdowns based on standards and custom rules to help systems engineers assess their work in terms of quality, independently of what they work in. So it's a standalone as well as an integrated product that you will see. And of course, it can also help downstream stakeholders like quality assurance experts or software architects to automatically assess the quality of an inbound model, basically to foster this collaboration also from the quality side along the process, like the V or something like that. Okay, so much for the introduction. And now we get to the really interesting part of today's webinar, which will be, of course, the hands-on part, the demo part. So I hand over to my colleague, Daniel, to explain and show to you, these tools in action.
So what we are going to show you today, and we will start with Nizam. He will do a review on the published stakeholder copy that is hosted by a ProCloud server in Amazon. This is the wrong. Yeah, you're getting ready, and he will modify the stakeholder copy that is hosted in an AWS or Azure copy, and I will then use GitHub to create the feature branch, incorporate these changes, and then we will do a pull requests to review the changes. We will run IncQuery Validator on each commit, and we will improve the model. And when we are done, we will publish it to Prolaborate again. Nizam.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. So as a first step, like the idea is that there is a model being created using Enterprise Architect, and that model is shared to the users for reviews and approvals. And this is what we do. So with Prolaborate, we will be able to browse the diagrams that are specifically given to that particular stakeholder. And when they click on a thumbnail or a link, they'll be able to see the actual diagram, the live diagram from the model. And if the user has a comment or a feedback, or if he or she is participating in a review, what they could do is they could just say, click on it, and they see the context of this item. And then if I want to add a comment to say, I would suggest renaming this for better understanding. So I could add a comment on a particular item, set a priority for it, and then post a comment, and that gets added on that particular item. So it just gets added to that element where, so if I click on this element, it will kind of indicate that there is a comment on it. And maybe I can just say, click on another item and say, this should have a trace back to the requirement. So I'm just saying whatever a stakeholder would have, like a casual comment, but instead of doing it in a like an email chain, we are actually doing it on the model itself. So the next time when someone looks at the diagram, they would also see that these comments are open on these diagrams, and this would have already sent an email notification to the people who have subscribed to this diagram. And the modeler will also be able to see this comment from within Enterprise Architect and take the next course of actions, which is what Daniel will do from now.
Okay, so we go back from Australia to Austria. So this is a truly global presentation today. And the first thing that I always do when I start the task, maybe this is because I was raised in old school industries, I need a ticket, I need a task sheet, I need a Auftrag in German. So we create an issue for the task, and it's incorporate feedback from Nizam. So this is my task, and I assign myself to this task. So in this world that we're gonna present, you always use the feature branch when you do changes, so that the operation of the change is isolated and can be reviewed in an isolated manner, not to pollute the head of your model all the time. I'm using GitHub for this demo. You can use all sorts of these backends. GitHub is just the most easy and most fancy, but you could use GitLab, Bitbucket, whatnot. And now I create a branch because we host the model for the engineers in Git, and we host the model for the stakeholders in SQL Server as a central repository. But the engineering model is hosted in Git, so I create a new branch in Git on GitHub that's now existing. It's called 504. In Enterprise Architect, I have the model already opened, but the important step here is that I do not change it in my current branch, which is 500, but I come here and say switch branch. And I can either use a Git client for this, but because some modelers are not software engineers and are a bit shy when they hear or see these software engineering tools, we have a very simple and very tailor-made Git client for systems engineers or other modelers integrated in Enterprise Architect. So now we choose this branch 504, and I can switch to this branch. This will take a few seconds because what it's doing, it's downloading a copy of the model from GitHub from this 504 branch, and then it will open it again in Enterprise Architect, and we will have all the great things in a second. So now it's switched, and my Enterprise Architect is a bit busy. Probably I will, now it's done. And you can see here, this is all the same things that Nizam has seen, this tracing diagram. And now we close this diagram again, and I show you the integration for the discussion. And I have a Prolaborate add-in also in my Enterprise Architect, and I can click View All Discussions. And this will enable me to see all the wise comments I got from the stakeholders. And here you can see this should have a traceback link, and I simply double click here and find it in the project browser. And this way I'm guided to the elements and can directly fix the issues on the diagrams. Okay. And this was the block, and the other one is also a block. So we do it for the sake of simplicity. I change it in this diagram because here we have both things available. I can come here to this element and again choose to have the discussions on this window.
In the meantime, Daniel, we have our first question coming from Julia. They are asking which EA version is used here in the demo. Additionally, which EA versions can support the add-ins described in the demo today?
I would say all not fully ancient ones, but I recommend EA 16 because the SQLite has many advantages for the types of stuff we do here.
Okay, that answers the question.
But there is no real limit. So here you can see now I have this Prolab. My computer is acting. I turn off video, sorry for that, but it's somehow very busy. Video, how to turn off video. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, and also you.
Okay.
So the camera is still on.
Yes, so let's hope it recovers. So we can now fix this issue. We rename this element and I call it light source energy source, something more generic. And I had this other comment that I need to create a link from here. And we will do this here. So I can come here to this element and we use the quick linker from EA to create a trace link to this requirement. And basically we can now say we are done with our job here. And again, because this is just contributing to a branch, I can come here and say git commit and push directly from the modeling environment to make it as easy as possible for modelers to contribute to this type of workflows. Changed. And so now it's closed. It's going back up into GitHub, and we will see in a second. When it's done, we will switch to GitHub, and we will start the pull request, the review process that's required. So it was successful, perfect.
In the meantime, another question,
Okay.
maybe perhaps to Nizam. Can the comments be directly visible in the diagram, just as we see in the Prolaborate window?
So at the moment, it is through within Enterprise Architect. I believe the question is for
Yes.
Within Enterprise Architect. So we are displaying the comments as a window on the side. It cannot be shown as an overlay like we see in Prolaborate, unfortunately.
Thank you
Okay.
for the
The
question and the answer.
The next step in our process, I go to the GitHub, and you can see there is a new push on our branch, and it asks me to create a pull request. A pull request is basically a document, a review document. So something really standard. What is special if you use this software engineering backends to do this is that you can have robots that help you. And what you can see here now is I run CI/CD, DevOps, or however you call it. It's basically some PowerShell scripts and some clever tools behind it that I run in my pipeline to validate the model changes. And there is two levels of validation in this example today. The one validation is the LemonTree style, where we check what has been changed in this branch. How can we review the changes in this model? And the second one is the IncQuery Validator that does a full-on validation for the Psych digital engineering rules in the pipeline. What you can see here in my comment that LemonTree created, I can already see there was one element modified. That's this energy source. And I can see there was one diagram changed, which is this model traffic tracing requirement. So if I have to do a review on the fast way, I could already say, this looks pretty good. There's the new trace link. You can see it in the green color, and these two elements were modified. So this looks pretty good to me. If I want to drill down into more detail on the review, I have two options. I can either open the session completely in LemonTree, which we'll skip for today, or I can open a full diff session in LemonTree Web. And this will give me the full fidelity diff of the changes that happened to the model in this feature branch. We can go here to the tracing diagram, and we can drill down into the changes of the elements. I can select, for example, this energy source element, and I can clearly see it was called light source before. You can see the details of the changes down here. Maybe I zoom in real quick. And so this gives you a very good understanding and capability for reviewing model change, and in a level that is unheard of in the industry. Here we can see there was this new trace link created. So this is a very fast way to understand model changes. And because it's such a fast way, it's also brilliant to educate new colleagues, to help new people. It's one of the big problems of modeling. If you have the new people on the live model, there will always be drama. And because they might destroy something, or they are afraid to destroy something. The result is the same. They don't get their job done. So if you have them working on a feature branch and have tools like this to help them, to mentor them, it's really very efficient way to manage change. But we are invited by IncQuery today. So we will now look at the results. Those that know me that my models are always kind of hard to follow, and this is a very good way and professional way to finally validate your models in a proper fashion. And we can do it in the pipeline. You can see we use a standard validation set, the Psych Digital Engineering Validation Rule Set, which is very common in the systems engineering space. And you can see I have 12 fatals, 37 errors, and 1 warning. And out of 91 rules, 12 had problems. So at least I had some right. And I can drill down into more detail. Here I can see all the rules I violated, and I can, like, for example, one we will fix is that a use case is not connected to another use case or an actor. And we will also fix this warning that there is an actor that is not associated with any use cases. So these are the 2 rules I'm gonna fix in the next stage, but I think this gives you a good idea. There is also the possibility to download a proper HTML report from here. I prepared this for today, so it's faster. And this, you can see, this is the full fidelity HTML report showing a nice management-ready quality score for your model. We are apparently on E at the moment, and we see all the details of the validations, the rules that had problems, and then also the problems in details, like the block that has a problem, the power source block has a problem, and all of these problems in a detailed fashion. And further down the road, we can also directly link into Enterprise Architect or Prolaborate to see the elements. And this is the idea of this reporting. Now, if I want to fix these reports, these issues, it would be very hard to do it offline. So what I did, I ran the validation already before, because it takes roughly 1 minute and it's rather boring to watch. And you can see I can filter here for the various rules where I have occurrences. And we're now gonna look at this warning. And you can see if I double click the element, it automatically opens the correct part of the model. And this rule is actor 1 is not associated. So we have a look at actor 1. And we can go to the traceability, and we see, okay, actor 1 has no connections whatsoever. So I could either delete actor 1, or we could introduce actor 1 here and in this diagram, and create a use relationship from actor 1 to some other thing. And now this warning would already be fixed. The second problem we have on the validation is an error. It is this error that this use case, this is the new use case, this one is not connected to any actor or to another use case. So this is the second one we're gonna fix. And we also use this guy here. And we're gonna also connect it. So now we have fixed 2 of the validation rules that I decided to fix for today. If I rerun this now here, I would get immediate feedback. And interestingly, when I run it, you can already see there is full 2 important validation sets already implemented. It's a psych, and there is also a validation for sysmod that is implemented. And I can now start the validation again. This will take a little bit of time. And so we will look into more details. This was maybe not so clever that I called it right now, but I know how to fix this. Can't move it.
While Daniel is addressing this, I will maybe add some details as to what these rules actually are, because I think it's maybe interesting to some of you what is this SAIC digital engineering validation tool. So it's basically a collection of best practices and patterns and recommended, let's say, quality related practices that are really good to follow if you want to make sure that your systems engineering work is easily understandable, reusable, and of course free of common design mistakes. And our friends and partners at SAIC have actually kindly provided their work, actually many years worth of work in this direction as a reusable library of documented best practices and rules. And this is what we turned into an executable configuration for the validator that can evaluate these rules automatically and also generate reports, as Daniel is showing in this demonstration.
Yes. And now I fixed my issue, and I'm now going to show you how to check in with a normal Git client, because it's just the way it is. Fixed to psych violations. And again,
I will answer the Q&A question. So is the SAIC tool available to the public? Yes, it is. The link to it is actually in the slides, but I will also maybe post it into the chat. By default, so the original implementation is for another systems engineering tool, so the Cameo Systems Modeler, but we provide the fully equivalent and even more performant implementation for Enterprise Architect that is only available in IncQuery Validator.
Perfect. So now I pushed it again to GitHub, and if you listened before, whenever I push change to the repository, these checks start running again. And the first check again is this diff check that's running, and the next check that's gonna run is this is again the validation rules. So it will take a little while till we will see the results. Interesting is we are still in this reviewing scope where the engineers basically work on improving the quality of the models. You can now see in my pull request, I also have the changes on the use case diagram now in the pull request for quick reviewing, and we now simply have to wait a few seconds for the update on the psych rules, and then we will see that the warning will be gone, and we dropped from 36 to from 37 to 36 errors. What I will do next is we will say, okay, the work is finished. We are happy with the changes. I know we should probably resolve all the violations now, but we don't have the time for this. So after I see the next results, I will press squash and merge. And then the model is basically merged back into the main branch. And the main branch is what we defined, will also be available to stakeholders, and therefore gets again uploaded into Prolaborate. So you can see my prediction was correct. I'm down to 37 and the warning is gone. So we can say, okay, that's fine. Now we do squash and merge, which basically means our task is finished. We have completed these changes that were requested by Nizam, and we even improved the model further because we were able to fix 2 of these psych validations. Now that I merged into main, you can see there is this publish components running on the main branch, which is basically a task that extracts parts of the model that we want to publish and imports it in a central SQL Server repository so we can access it with Prolaborate, and it also saves them on a file storage and stuff like this. So if I now go into Prolaborate, and we go on the tracing diagram, the use cases are not populated. We can already see that the light source was populated to energy source. The diagram apparently was not yet rendered. This takes typically a few minutes, but you can already see my name change. The energy source was already introduced. So we have this, we can close this full loop and say, done in this release. And now I can finish up the job basically by answering and closing the discussions I had with my stakeholders in Australia. We named it something more generic. And now if we are happy, maybe the diagram is re-rendered already. And yeah, the diagram is re-rendered. You can see now it's called also energy source in the diagram, and this new connection that I introduced is visible also for the stakeholders. And now back to our stakeholder. Did I forget anything, Nizam, or are you happy? If Nizam is happy, we go back to slides.
Yeah, so I mean, it's all good, and I've already closed the comments. As you can see, as you updated it, I get a notification and I said I'm fine and closed. You could see that the traffic light system comment is already closed. So it's
Yes.
no, it's so you could remove the filter, you'll see
Yeah.
the closed comment, but I've already closed it. So that's
Yes.
kind of what it is. So you also have the archive, like all the comments are persistent. It's just that it won't show as an open item that needs a resolution.
Yes. So I think then we are good for the demo. Let's go back to slides on István's computer.
Yes, back to me. But this, I think, is still yours to summarize, Daniel.
Yes, yes. So this is just because I know this is a very complex demo and lots of tools are involved. So this is just to remember you what happened. We had LemonTree, Git clients, and Enterprise Architect on the client. We were using GitHub as our server repository for the Git part. We were using, in this case, not TeamCity, but GitHub Actions to execute some scripts to run a pipeline. We were using IncQuery Validator for the validation results. And once we were happy with the changes we did in the feature branch, we published it automatically to ProCloud server, so we could have the model available via Prolaborate to our stakeholders. And I really think it's a very brilliant idea only to show models to stakeholders that have been reviewed inside the modeling community.
Thank you very much. Basically, to summarize our webinar demonstrations for today, I believe and I hope you have seen 3 very exciting tools. LemonTree, of course, which is an established 3-way diffing and merging tool that works really, really nicely with the state-of-the-art visualization and integration and merging capabilities. We have also seen Prolaborate, which is a very powerful web-based tool to foster collaboration across the entire organization with better focus, simplification, curation, and increased engagement, which are very important, of course, to break the barriers of MBSE adoption, which we all know it's quite a challenge in all of the organizations. And finally, you have also seen a new product, which is the IncQuery Validator, which we will hope will be a successful quality assurance product. I think it fills a hole which was previously there in the market, to provide really powerful capabilities to do automated quality assurance for modeling in a way that is not just useful inside the authoring environment. It's also quite important, of course, to be able to interact with an add-on, but also in this continuous integration and agile world, which is proliferating in engineering disciplines now. And of course, these 3 tools are available individually, so you can reach out to either LieberLieber or Prolaborate or to us if you are interested in our particular tools. But we are also happy to announce that you can also get this as an integrated solution bundle. So if you are interested in adopting this agile methodology in your organization, then just reach out to any one of us and we can help you further, not just with the tools themselves, of course, but with help in adopting and installing and supporting this in this organization. And finally, what I just wanted to draw your attention to very quickly is something that is happening next week, especially for those of you who are in Europe or will be in Europe next week. So there is a quite interesting event called TDSE, Tag des Systems Engineering, or Day of Systems Engineering in German, the 15th to 17th of November in Würzburg. And of course, we will be there present physically. So look for Sparx and LieberLieber and IncQuery people. And all of us are very happy to engage and show you demos live or discuss further on the tools capabilities, or even go into very in-depth questions if you have some. And those are, of course, the best to discuss in person. So we are very much looking forward to meeting everyone who will be able to participate in this event. Okay, thanks again to everyone who has participated. Thank you very much for my co-hosts and presenters, Daniel and Nizam. I believe they deserve a round of applause because it was quite a complex demo and everything worked quite well. I wonder if there are any further questions for the Q&A session that we can answer right away. Feel free to type either into the Q&A part of Zoom or the chat. I hope I answered all the ones that we have received so far. I think I did. Okay, if there are no further questions, then I would like to thank everyone for their participation. And we are really looking forward to your feedback and to hearing from you. So please feel free to reach out to any one of us or to my colleagues through the websites or email or whatever you feel comfortable with. And let's keep in touch. Thanks again, and have a nice rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.